So at this point, you might have watched or have learned about combining sentences. If you haven't, watch the video that was posted alongside this one. What we're going to do is just kind of take a look at this sample paragraph and see what might be the different ways that we could combine sentences that allow us to kind of create a little bit of a flow for your paragraphs and your writing, and kind of think about the different ways you might combine sentences as it relates to the writing style that's being presented. So first, we have the Boston Red Sox were 3 games down. The Red Sox had to win the next 4 games to advance. Okay. Now we have 2 main points here that are happening. So these are important facts, right? And since it's at the beginning of the sentence, we know that these are going to be 2 important concepts that need to be addressed in the rest of the paragraph. So a good way to think about how to combine it. So we know that the Boston Red Sox need to do what, or what is the information? So we know that they're 3 games down. And we also know that they had to win the next 4 games to advance. So if you just listen to what I said, right away, we're wanting to combine 2 concepts. What might be a way that we can do that? So consider the different formulas. Well, if we know that we're combining, there's a good chance we're probably going to use the word and here. So we might say the Boston Red Sox were 3 games down, comma, and they had to win the next 4 games to advance. So this eliminates the need to have to repeat, right? And we created a smooth flow. And now we know that each one of these, as a reader, we know that they're important and related to what's about to come after. Okay, so that's our first way we combine these 2 sentences here. Since we're dealing with a cause and effect situation about saying why the fans were worried, there's a good chance we're going to need the word because in there, right? Now, we could put it right here if we want to and eliminate the comma, or if you want some dramatic effect, you can actually start the sentence with the word because. So for example, it might look like this: because Boston had not won the World Series, since 1918, comma, fans were worried. So you have the option of how you want to do it. So if you want dramatic effect, this is one of those moments we can start the sentence with the word because. Or if you wish to start with the fans and have that sort of dramatic effect and instead say fans were worried, then we would remove the comma and say because Boston had not won a World Series since 1918. Okay, next sentence. We have no team had ever come back in the playoffs from a 3-game deficit. Okay, all of the fans knew this. So there is a relationship between these 2, and since we already used the comma and up here and the word because, and we want some variety, right? I actually would probably do the semicolon. I would just include that there, lowercase, okay, because it's still part of the sentence. So we would say no team had ever come back in the playoffs from a 3-game deficit. All of the fans knew this. Again, it gives emphasis to this element here, right? And it also addresses this fact. And we didn't want to leave this part out or create a new sentence for it because, again, we want to really emphasize the relationship between these 2 sentences, okay? Next, Red Sox fans watched anxiously as the 4th game of the ALCS began. Yankees fans watched confidently. And so you notice that we're starting to get that sentence structure of that choppiness. Now, I feel that the first sentence is pretty okay on its own because there's a lot of information. And then we have Yankees fans watch confidently. They also knew that anything could happen. So there's a good chance that these could probably be combined as well because, again, it's just kind of giving us reaction, right? So Yankees fans watch confidently. And then we might want to mirror this one up again here. Why? Why were they watching confidently? Because, okay, we're taking that part out, lowercase, because they also knew that anything can happen. Okay. So next, people wanted to watch a good series. They did not expect it to be such a nail biter. Okay. So again, we combine this if we want to. We can say people wanted to watch a good series and they did not expect it to be such a nail biter. So we can combine using and comma, okay, and lowercase this, or you can leave it like that if you wish. There's no right or wrongs here. It's just a matter of what you feel your style is and how you want the paragraph to flow. David Roberts stole second base. This move would be remembered as the turning point of the series. Okay. So of course this is an important point, right? And it gives us the explanation as to why. So David Roberts stole second base. This move would be remembered as the turning point of the series. And again, I probably would put the semicolon here again. I just enjoy using semicolons for dramatic effect, but you don't have to. You can keep it as it is. It's your choice. Nobody believed the Red Sox would win that year. The Red Sox won that year. Okay. Now we're kind of giving little facts here. And again, the important point being that the Red Sox won that year. So we really want to hype that part up, right? So I probably would say nobody believed the Red Sox would win this year, but, and then I want to use the word but because it really is emphasizing the contrast to that. But the Red Sox won that year. And if you want to say the Red Sox and repeat it, you can. I am going to leave it in there this time around because this is such an important point. Yes, we could say, but they won that year. You can, but it really doesn't give emphasis stylistic wise, right? Because that's a big deal. So in this instance, I'm going to repeat the Red Sox one more time. Whereas earlier on, we probably didn't really necessarily need it because it's not telling us, again, up here, they had to win the next 4 games to advance, but this is telling us the culmination. Here's what happened. Finally, the Yankees would not win the World Series for another 5 years. Okay. So in this instance, I'm actually going to add that and leave it as it is, that the Yankees would not win the World Series for another 5 years in 2009. And in this case, I'm actually going to use the however, right? You can do it like this in 2009. However, okay, the Yankees won. Oops. Or you can combine the sentences. You can say in 5 years, you can do semicolon, however, comma, in 2009, the Yankees won. That's your choice. Or finally, and this is one of my favorites, you can say in 2009, the Yankees won the World Series, comma, however. So those are your options there, okay? Like I said, I know that there are so many different choices that you can make, and there really are. So it's about in a matter of what you want, actually. So what are you trying to emphasize? What sounds good? What do you think fits with, again, any effects that you're trying to do or dramatic effects? So the goal being is that you have to know what moves you can make and how to combine them in order to execute these different choices and options. Because if you don't, or if you're not familiar with how to combine, then you're going to have a lot of the same, kinds of sentences that are just sounding robotic. Not that they're wrong, but again, it's about writer's choice and what they wish to emphasize.